Alright, I tried writing a script for this and that didn't help all that much, so we're going to have a few bits of audio that are recorded from a script and a few bits of audio that are recorded from me just ad-libbing things, and then we're going to edit them together. So bear with me and forgive my stammering. Thank you. Alright, this movie was edited from a TV show called Arrow Emblem Hawk of the Grand Prix, created in the late 70s by Toei Animation. It was actually fairly common in the late 80s and early 90s for American companies to license Japanese TV shows and re-edit them into movies because the Japanese shows didn't have enough episodes for a full syndication deal. I think the most infamous of that would probably be Sandy Frank's Fugitive Alien movies, recut from a TV show called Star Wolf. Other examples off the top of my head, there was a Message from Space TV show called Message from Space Galactic Battle. It was edited down into a direct-to-video movie called Swords of the Space Ark. Other examples, I believe Timeboken, Tatsunoko Productions' Timeboken TV series, that was recut into a series of movies for video. And before Robotech came out, Harmony Gold planned to recut Macross into a series of movies to be sold on videotape, but they decided instead of doing that, they would buy up some other similar series and kind of mush all those together to create a longer group of episodes for syndication. Alright, today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Arrow Emblem Hawk of the Grand Prix, and particularly of the short movie it was edited into. Arrow Emblem Hawk of the Grand Prix was an anime series by Toei Animation, created in the late 70s. In the mid-80s, it was bought by an American company. The distribution rights were, and they edited it into a short movie called Super Grand Prix. A few weeks ago, I think a few months ago now, a YouTuber, he got the movie, he took some clips of it and edited them together, showed off some goofy scenes from the movie. I thought it looked good in spite of the goofiness, so I went and bought the DVD. Just a quick Yahoo or Google search gave me the Amazon page. Might have been a Bing search, but that doesn't matter. So, how was the movie? I liked it. I liked Hawk of the Grand Prix. I liked Super Grand Prix. It delivered what I wanted. Cool cars and cool race scenes. A lot of people said it looked like a Speed Racer ripoff, but that's what I wanted. I'm not opposed to series, TV shows, movies, which are similar to things I already like. I'll go ahead and buy it. I'll buy Battlestar Galactica, I'll buy Monster Rancher, I'll buy Message from Space, Space Raiders, whatever. It's fun. In Super Grand Prix, a young American race car driver or aspiring race car driver crashes on his first race. When he's in the hospital, a mysterious masked man comes in and gives him another chance to race again. But he keeps crashing and causing other people to crash. And that's probably the main problem with this movie. If this was a TV show, there'd be more time to develop the characters and situation. That would let me understand why people keep giving this young man a chance to race when he keeps messing up. The main draw of this, of course, isn't the character development or anything like that. It's the cool cars and race scenes, which are great. The cars are lovingly described, well detailed, well rendered, and the race scenes are appropriately action-packed, if somewhat cheaply animated. The cars in Super Grand Prix or Arrow Emblem are lovingly described and well standard. It's a lot of fun to watch cool cars. That's why I got the series, as I said before. So the series delivers, or the movie really was edited into a movie. It delivers what it was supposed to, what I expected of it. Cool cars and decent race scenes. I think Speed Racer had better backgrounds. A lot of scenes in Super Grand Prix or Aero Emblem Hawk of the Grand Prix looked like they were shot against a plain white background that had been backlit with all the details, or most of the details, drawn directly onto the cells. That's cool, and it helps save some money, but I think Tatsunoko Productions' technique of drawing actual backgrounds and having them loosely painted so it looked like motion blur worked better. I also think Speed Racer had more scenes with more complex animation. It's generally regarded as a cheaply animated show today, but there were some really dynamic scenes in there. You all can remember the scene in the opening where he jumps out of his car and the car turns around. There's a lot of scenes in the series with moving backgrounds where they had to draw every single frame of the background. The actual hills, the mountains, the horizon, physically moving. You even see that in the first episode when he's chasing some guys who was trying to steal the plans for the Mach 5. He grabs a guy on a motorcycle and it cuts to a POV shot of what the motorcycle driver's seeing when he's driving down the mountain with speed latched onto him. You don't get those type scenes in Aero Emblem Hawk of the Grand Prix or Super Grand Prix. It's fine what they did, but it's not quite as cool. There were some scenes in Speed Racer that were shot directly overhead, almost like a video game, an old video game like Indy 500 for the Atari, or Bump and Jump or something. They didn't have those in Super Grand Prix or Aero Emblem Hawk of the Grand Prix. Most of the scenes were shot there were scenes shot from the air, but the high-up scenes were shot at an angle instead of directly overhead. Speed Racer had scenes shot at an angle too, but it's just something I thought was interesting to note. Speed Racer, Tatsunoko Productions shot a few scenes from directly overhead. I kind of like that. It's a simple way of showing you where the cars are in relationship to each other. Shooting things at a slight angle probably looks more realistic. It's probably a bit more dynamic, but Speed Racer makes up for that by having those point of view type shots, which I don't think you really got those in Super Grand Prix or Aero Emblem Hawk of the Grand Prix. One thing I will say about Super Grand Prix animation, it still had effects animation that was painted in frame by frame. I like that. Speed Racer also had that. Most modern anime and other cartoons, they usually use CGI for effects animation. Even the 90s stuff, a lot of it was done by CGI, and even then it was fairly rare. It is fairly rare to see animation that's actually painted in with airbrushing and the like. It's usually flat shaded type stuff in the 90s or in the 80s. If it wasn't CGI, if it was done with traditional methods, it was usually flat shaded, not painted in, not airbrushed. I mean, they were painting on the cells, but they weren't painting details and things. They were painting flat blocks of color. They are sometimes backlit, which is cool too. But I like the painted in stuff. I think it looks neat. Perhaps because of its rarity, it's unusual to see hand-painted details and things like that. outside of maybe the 1940s or the late 1930s. The Fleischer Brothers Superman cartoons had painted on details and a lot of nice airbrush looking shading. So did certain scenes in Fantasia. I think The Thief in the Cobbler, that was 60s, 70s, 80s animation by Richard Williams. There was, I think, one scene, one shot where they went and airbrushed some of the frames there, and it looked nice too. Aero Emblem Hawk of the Grand Prix had a really cool kind of jazzy theme song, which was replaced when it came to America with a more generic synthesized song. The synthesized song is okay. It kind of reminds me of something from Knight Rider, the theme song from Knight Rider, or the theme song from Airwolf. Those are cool songs. The Super Grand Prix theme song isn't quite as cool, but it's within that style, and that's the era that they were making this dub, and it was being marketed to kids who probably liked Knight Rider and Airwolf and other similar shows. The voice acting on Super Grand Prix is fine. It's corny, sure, but there were only about 6 people making the dub. They're able to provide enough distinct voices, and the voices generally fit their characters, so I can live with it. It's fine. I don't mind corny dubs, as long as I can hear what's going on and I can tell who each person is. I've also got to note that their acting generally isn't wooden. They do put some emphasis in lines depending on the scene, depending on the emotions needed for the scene. They might be overdoing it, they might be underdoing it, but it works.